I'm at my cousin's retirement party last month. The guy just turned 67, worked as an accountant his whole life, nothing fancy, and I'm talking to him near the end of the night, and I ask him the standard question you ask retirees. So how's it going? You doing okay financially without the paycheck? And this man looks at me, completely serious, and says, James, I have more money now than I did when I was working. I just stared at him. I'm thinking maybe he's had too much wine or he's confused about his account balance. But then he starts walking me through the actual numbers. And I'm standing there realizing this isn't some fluke. This is actually happening to millions of people, so I started digging into this, talking to financial planners, analyzing retirement data, interviewing people who've been retired for 5, 10, 15 years. And here's what I found. There's a significant percentage of retirees whose net worth is actively growing after they stop earning a paycheck, not just maintaining, growing. My name is James, and I spend way too much time thinking about why the math behind money never works the way we're told it should. If you've ever wondered how someone with no job can somehow end up wealthier than when they had one, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because today we're breaking down the 8 specific reasons retirees are getting richer while the rest of us are grinding 50 hours a week. We're talking about a counterintuitive financial reality that almost nobody explains clearly. Let's start with the most immediate change. Your effective tax rate collapses. When you're working, the government is taking a massive bite out of every dollar before you even see it. Federal income tax, state tax, Social Security contributions, Medicare, all of it vanishing before the money hits your account. According to the Tax Policy Center, the average American worker earning $85,000 pays about $18,000 in federal taxes alone. Add state taxes and payroll deductions and you're losing 30 to 35% of your income, so that $85,000 salary, you're actually living on maybe $55,000 to $60,000 after taxes. But here's what happens in retirement. Your taxable income drops dramatically because you're not earning a salary anymore. You're pulling from Social Security, retirement accounts, maybe some investment income, and the way these get taxed is completely different. Let's say you need $70,000 a year to live comfortably. You pull $35,000 from Social Security and $35,000 from your IRA. Sounds like $70,000 of taxable income, right? Wrong. Social Security isn't fully taxable. For most retirees, only about 50% counts as taxable income, so that $35,000 becomes $17,500 in taxable income. Add the $35,000 IRA withdrawal, and you're at $52,500. Now apply the standard deduction, about $30,000 if you're married filing jointly over 65. Your taxable income just dropped to $22,500. You're spending $70,000 but only paying taxes on $22,500. You just gave yourself a 20% raise by retiring. The entire tax structure shifts in your favor the moment you stop working. The second shift is equally dramatic. Your spending drops off a cliff. Think about what you're spending money on right now just to maintain your job. According to AAA, the average American spends about $3,000 a year just on commuting. Add work clothes, lunches, coffee runs, and you're looking at another $4,500 annually. But here's the bigger shift. The convenience tax disappears. When you're working full-time, you're time poor but money decent. So you outsource everything. Meal delivery, lawn care, house cleaning. When you retire, that equation flips. You're money conscious but time rich. I talked to a retired couple in Arizona who tracked their spending. They were spending about $8,000 a year on convenience services during their working years. In retirement, they do it all themselves. That's $8,000 staying in their accounts every year, compounding, growing their net worth. And then there's the big one. Most people entering retirement have paid off their mortgage. That's an extra $1,500 to $2,500 a month that's no longer leaving their account. Kids are financially independent. According to the USDA, raising a child to age 18 costs about $310,000. Once they're launched, that cash flow comes back to you. Now here's where the math gets truly wild. Compound interest, which felt painfully slow for decades, suddenly becomes your best friend. When you're 25 and start contributing to a 401k, compound interest is working on small amounts. You put in $5,000, it grows 8%. You made $400. Not life-changing, but fast forward 30 years. Now you've got $800,000 in that account. It grows 8% in 1 year. That's $64,000 of growth. You didn't contribute a single dollar. The market did all the work. And here's the part that blows people's minds. That growth doesn't stop when you retire. According to Vanguard's research, if you're withdrawing 4% annually and your portfolio is growing at 7% annually, your account is still growing by 3% per year even while you're pulling money out to live on. I talked to a financial planner in Denver who showed me portfolios where people retired with $1.2 million had been withdrawing $50,000 a year for 8 years, and their account balance is now $1.4 million. They've taken out $400,000 and they have $200,000 more than when they started. Let's talk about Social Security. Everyone loves to trash it. It's going bankrupt. It won't be there. But here's the reality. It's still paying out. Right now, to 67 million Americans, the average Social Security benefit in 2025 is about $1,920 a month. If you're married, you're looking at roughly $3,200 combined. That's $38,400 a year of guaranteed income for life. Now think about what that means. If Social Security is covering $38,000 of your annual expenses and you need $70,000 total, you only need to withdraw $32,000 from your portfolio. That leaves way more money invested, continuing to compound. I ran the numbers with a retirement calculator. A couple retiring with $900,000 and Social Security providing $38,000 annually will likely have more money at age 85 than they did at 65. Social Security acts like a floor under your finances. Everything above that floor can stay invested and keep growing. Here's something that surprises people. Healthcare costs actually stabilize once you hit 65 and Medicare kicks in. Before 65, if you're buying private insurance, you're getting destroyed. I'm talking $1,500 to $2,500 a month for a couple in their early 60s. But the day you turn 65 and qualify for Medicare, your costs drop dramatically. Medicare Part B is about $175 a month. Add a supplement policy for another $200. Total monthly cost, roughly $375. Compare that to the $2,000 you were paying. That's an extra $1,625 and others at $90 a month staying in your pocket, nearly $20,000 a year. According to the Employee Benefit Research Institute, healthcare is one of the biggest expenses in the gap years between early retirement and Medicare eligibility. But once Medicare starts, suddenly your budget has significantly more room. Let's talk about the home equity unlock. You've been living in the same house for 30 years. You bought it for $180,000, paid off the mortgage, and it's now worth $500,000. But it's too big now, so you sell it. And here's the beautiful part. The IRS lets you exclude up to $500,000 of capital gains if you're married. So most people pay zero taxes on the profit. You sell for $500,000, buy a smaller condo for $280,000, and boom, you just added $220,000 in liquid cash to your net worth. I know a couple in Florida who did exactly this. They downsized from a 3,200 square foot house to a 1,400 square foot condo, unlocked $300,000 in equity, dropped their annual property cost by $6,000. That $300,000 went straight into investments. 3 years later, it's worth $380,000. They got richer by living in less space. Here's something people don't expect. A lot of retirees end up working, not because they have to, but because they want to. And this isn't their old career. This is consulting a few hours a week, turning a hobby into side income, doing freelance work on their terms. According to the Transamerica Center for Retirement Studies, about 54% of retirees do some form of paid work in the first few years. And here's what makes it powerful. They don't need that income. Their retirement savings and Social Security cover their expenses, so this money is pure surplus. It goes straight into savings or gets invested. I talked to a retired engineer who does consulting 2 days a month. He makes about $18,000 a year. He doesn't spend it. It goes directly into his brokerage account. 5 years of this and he's added $90,000 to his net worth plus growth. And finally, there's the inheritance factor. Statistically, most people inherit money from their parents during their 60s and 70s. According to the Federal Reserve, the median inheritance in America is about $69,000. When you receive an inheritance in retirement, it's found money you didn't include in your planning. So it goes straight into assets, increasing your net worth. Even a $50,000 inheritance invested for 10 years at 7% growth becomes $98,000. Beyond inheritances, retirees also benefit from other windfalls. Selling a rental property, cashing out old stock options, insurance settlements. These events tend to cluster in later life. Now, before you think retirement is magical for everyone, let me give you the reality check. Everything I've described assumes you did the work earlier. If you didn't save adequately, if you're carrying debt into retirement, if you're withdrawing too aggressively, none of this applies. But for people who save 15 to 20% consistently, who avoided major financial mistakes, who entered retirement with a paid-off mortgage and minimal debt, the math works. Retirement becomes a phase of continued wealth growth, not decline. And look, if you're decades away from retirement, this should be encouraging. The sacrifices you're making now, the money you're saving, the expenses you're controlling, they're all setting you up for a phase where your wealth can actually accelerate. If this changed how you think about retirement, smash that like button and subscribe. Next week, we're breaking down why the 4% withdrawal rule might actually be too conservative. I'm James, and I'll see you in the next one. The retirement you've been told to fear might actually be the wealthiest phase of your life.